Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Larsen, and I work as Head of Business Intelligence and Analytics at Fastighetsägarna AB Balder. And I'm here to share my experience of modernizing Balder's data estate. And this is based on a vision that was established in the late 2020, so it's only 1 year ago, with the aim of revolutionizing the way we approach this data management and become a more data-driven organization. And this by providing our stakeholders with actionable and trustable insights so we can create the ultimate customer experience and the highest potential business value for the company. And what distinguishes us as a company is partly the fact that we act within the real estate industry, but also how we choose to operate and manage our business, which I will be focusing on during this presentation, together with data management. So before that, let me just give you a quick brief of Balder as a company, since some of you may not have heard of it before. As I mentioned, we are a real estate company. We were founded in 2005, and we currently have around 1,500 properties. They are mainly in the Nordics, but also in other European countries, such as Germany, Great Britain, but also Greece recently. We have around 60,000 tenants, renting an area of around 4.8 million square meters. And our total property value is around 16.5 billion euros, which is managed by around 850 employees within the organization. So what's interesting with the real estate industry is that we have all different kinds of properties. We have properties that are over 100 years old and some that we are currently building. And this creates some challenges when it comes to data and connecting them to different kinds of prop tech devices, sensors, and so forth. We also have different kinds of properties for different kinds of usage. So if we take these pictures as an example, we have properties for commercial usage, we have supermarkets, hotels, large and small buildings for residential purposes. For example, the building in the middle, which is called Karlatornet, which we are currently building together with a company called Serneke in Gothenburg, which will be the highest building in the Nordics when it's finished. What's also interesting with the real estate industry is that in many ways we are a pretty analog industry. And this is something that we would like to change. And we do not just compare ourselves with other real estate companies, but also other kinds of industries. So for example, when we look at sales and marketing, we also find different kind of things in other industries, such as the other kinds of industries that we can take knowledge from. And in addition to this, we have a different kind of management model. So we are totally investment oriented. So we have no budgets, and this makes all different kinds of projects, initiatives, and so forth, totally investment oriented. So we want to create the highest potential business value in everything we do. And one of these initiatives is to create a modern data estate so we can find a place for the data to live. And this is pretty much like setting up a new property where you want to have a stable platform to stand on with the right structure and conditions and be able to build upon that. So as I mentioned, we started this journey for 1 year ago. And one of the first things was to identify our relevant stakeholders for this initiative. We quickly realized that we have all different kinds of shareholders, both internally but also externally in form of shareholders, customers, and suppliers. So here are some form of shareholders for example, our operations in property development and property management, but also human resources, marketing, and so forth. And also, one other example is energy, where we want to be able to measure our water and energy consumption, sensors from different kinds of digital locks, and so forth. One year ago, we also set some kind of roadmap, what we would like to do in the next years. So last year, we were trying to define what was the mission and vision with this project, and also trying to find the gaps of our old version of the data platform and what we want to build in the future. Currently, in 2021, we have actually migrated our old platform to the clouds and starting on a modern data estate. And also trying to find different ways of measuring the business in a completely different manner. And in the next couple of 2 years, we also want to add all these different kinds of product devices, sensors and so forth to the data platform, but also starting with different kinds of predictive and proactive analytics. And we also have a mission and objective to create a platform where every kind of stakeholders can access the data. So it's not just internally, but also be able to provide insights to our suppliers and customers. So as I mentioned, the mission is to make our stakeholders more data-driven. And in order to do that, we as an organization and the individuals in this organization needs to align and work together with applied technology. And first of all, the organization must align and not only base their decisions on intuitions, but also on data. And I think that the way to do that is to be transparent in everything we do and to democratize data in the entire organization. When we have done this, we can also change the routines and processes in the organization and adapt the change accordingly with the technology. And I believe this is how you, by involving the organization in all different kinds of processes, this is the way they get curious and ask new kinds of questions, which creates business cases, which make us able to take the next step in the analytics maturity. However, we have to start small and think big. We can't move to predictive and prescriptive analytics overnight. So in order to do this, I think we need to have a think big in the beginning to create a sustainable platform that is flexible and scalable, but start small with smaller projects and trying to deliver this customer experience and potential business value in the cases. And I believe the first step in any kind of change is that we have to define why we need to make the change and who it will serve. And in this case, we have partly the people of the organization, but also the business management as key stakeholders of this project. We also have one other component in this equation, that is IT and technology. But in order for us to get ahead of this journey, we believe that we have to start with the people and the business management and trying to find the right IT and technology according to these needs. So you can have the best IT and technology in the world, but if no one uses it and understand why they're using it, then I believe it's meaningless. So in order to align this, we have structured the organization and a department we call DITA, which stands for Digitalization, IT, and Business Development, which makes a lot more sense in Swedish, as the last word is affärsutveckling. And the reason behind this is that we want all different kinds of projects to have a close relationship to the business. So depending on its IT project, a digitalization project, it must have a close relationship to the business. And this is also why the data analytics team is a part of the business development. We have also initiated a group called the Business Intelligence Council, which has members in various interest groups. And they are responsible for partly streamlining the business requirements from the organization, but also prioritizing these initiatives together with the management group. And if we have different kinds of system requirements, or that we have to adapt and change our different kinds of routines, for example, they also have contact and make different kinds of system requirements with our different system owners. And in the bottom here, we have the data analytics team that is responsible for, together with the BI Council, to create the technology needed to support the business in this case. So when we approached the organization, we saw that we have many different kinds of challenges. Here are some points that we call social, socio-technical, and technical challenges. The first one is that, an example of that is that some people may be protectionistic when it comes to their data. They don't want to share it with others. And this does not align with data democratization, in many cases, at least. We also have the socio-technical aspect that many people are afraid of new technology and how that will affect their work. And I believe that we need to find the sweet spot of combining the intuition and knowledge of our competent colleagues with the benefits of data, often referred to as augmented intelligence. And we also have the fact that we continuously gaining a lot more data and connecting to different kinds of systems. So we need also have a high risk of information overload. And this is also something that we need to approach. And of course, we have some technical challenges that we need different kinds of routines and technology to support data management, data governance, and so forth, but also that we need to have a platform that is able to scale. So the way we have approached these challenges is both by change management and data management. And I think these two are aligned and must be worked on continuously and simultaneously. So I will start with change management, where we have identified 3 bullet points. That is culture, mindset, trust, and data literacy. So first of all, we have to create a culture and a mindset in the organization so that people understand the benefits of data and how they can use it to optimize their work. We also have to create trust in order for them to actually trust the solutions we are providing. And we have to increase the data literacy by continuously educating the people, also adapting the presentation and visualizations depending on the end users and the purpose of the analysis. And also involving all the different kinds of stakeholders in the business requirement process. So these change management activities are correlated with the data management bullet points that is presented here, which are just some examples. But we have quality control, for example, to present one single source of truth. So we have to continuously evaluating and validating the data so it can be trusted. We also have data enrichment that we, in some cases, has to transform the data to make it fit the business needs. KPI definition to create a catalog of unified KPIs so all different departments speak the same language. We also have master data management, which is to identify and maintain accountability for the data, and data governance to implement different kinds of techniques and processes to ensure things like security and accessibility. And these different kinds of actions regarding to both data management and change management calls for different kinds of changes in organizational structures, routines, but also in the technology. So moving to the technical aspects, we identified some key success factors when it comes to the data platform that we wanted to establish. The first thing was that we wanted a data lake so we can extract raw data and actually doing ad hoc analysis with this. We also wanted ETL automation to simplify the development with low code and minimize the risk of creating a black box of unexplained logic. We also wanted a semantic layer to create this kind of framework for different kinds of metrics and dimensions and make the different kinds of connections. A data catalog to help the super users to find and evaluate different kinds of data points. A data lineage to make it easier for the business to understand the logic and the connections. And also documentation automation, so we can minimize the time spent on documentation in order for us to prioritize more value-creating activities. So we started this journey, like I mentioned, 1 year ago in the late 2020, and in the beginning of 2021, we migrated our platform to Microsoft Azure in order for us to gain an increased scalability in the platform. And we also entered a partnership together with Time Extender and the Discovery Hub, which handles everything from the data extraction with different kinds of data connections into the transformation, but also creating a semantic model so we can connect to any kind of endpoint. And this is bound by total transparency, which is one of the keynotes here. So we want different kinds of people in the organization, not just tech people, but also business analysts, controllers, to be able to identify different kinds of steps in this process. So we don't have a black box so people don't understand what is going on in the background, but being able to, in a visual way, present how the data is connected. Cloud moving forward, so we have just started this analytics process was a pilot project when it comes to moving to the cloud. And since then, we have also evaluating different ways of moving other kinds of systems to the cloud. We have initiated an integration and API platform to in a secure and efficient way solve the integration challenge between systems, which is a prerequisite in the compliance of the Master Data Initiative. We also have some RPA processes to robotize automated and repetitive tasks. And we are continuously trying to add different kinds of analytic resources to this platform to fill the gap that lies ahead. So the key learnings over this last year is that I think we need to evaluate the qualifications and mission when we initiate a project like this, to think what is really interesting and what the organization needs, as there is no one solution fits all. We also have to evaluate our current structure and solution to identify what is missing and what we actually need, and not being afraid of removing anything and start from the beginning. And the last learning is what I mentioned before, that I think we need to take a step back, think big, in order for us to get a solid structure that is sustainable and scalable, but start small, because otherwise we can start doing different kinds of evaluations and proof of concepts and so forth for 1 year, 2 years. And in 2 years, the organization has changed, the needs have changed. So start small, think big. So we have just started this journey and is expanding rapidly and constantly searching for new people, suppliers and vendors to help us on this journey. So if you have any questions or thoughts, just feel free to contact me here or add me on LinkedIn or just grab me off stage. Thank you all for listening.